The slow, painful, greedy death of Angry Birds. Alright, so I usually never really played Angry Birds. I think I had or let me not say that I had. Let me just say that I knew of an app called Installers. If you know, you know. And I have played some Angry Birds here and there, from what I can recall. But I do remember, of course, you know, Angry Birds took over the 2010s, and over the decade, and now about like a decade and a half of it existing, it's just kind of like slowly has like fallen off. Of course, they had the Angry Birds movie, they had their collabs with Star Wars, making it be called Angry Birds Star Wars, and you know, they did a bunch of other stuff. Of course, they had released like merchandise alongside this IP, but let's see how Sunny B2 tackles this subject here.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games, toys, and movies, generating hundreds of millions of dollars. But by 2019, they were firing masses of staff, and since then things have only gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the initial idea. Angry Birds wasn't an original concept. In April 2000,
I mean, I would kind of figure it wasn't like completely 100% original. I mean, you're just throwing something at something to break it down. I don't feel like, but did they completely copy completely copy, like blatant copy? Well, what do you got for us here, Sonny?
2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to fire a trebuchet into wooden structure hiding medieval people. Well, 8 months later, in December 2000,
well, that's not entirely the same thing.
A game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to...
There's some physics here, as opposed to where the Angry Birds is just like a slingshot that you're holding and then letting it go off by flicking it off, or like letting go of the slingshot.
Fire a trebuchet into wooden structure.
But this is definitely pretty much like the pig bases and everything.
Hiding medieval people. Well, 8 months later, in December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app named Angry Birds, which, while clearly being a rip-off, was better in every way. It had cooler, cleaner animated graphics, and different stages, each with different levels. You got points for every enemy killed, and points for every bird you didn't use, giving players the chance to compete for high scores. Throw in 5 different birds with 5 different abilities, as well as a cool, catchy soundtrack, and it's easy to see that Angry Birds was better. They developed 51 games prior to Angry Birds, none of which saw a...
I thought he was going to say like 51 Angry Birds games. No, that would be crazy. Wait, who did? They did a Need for Speed game? The people that... Rovio?
Better. They developed...
Prior to creating Angry Birds, Rovio developed 51 games. Dude, I thought they were just like a niche indie type of company.
51 games prior to Angry Birds, none of which...
I didn't know that they were out here making games for Need for Speed. Well, I think this is like the only one that's like the most notable out of all the names that I'm seeing here.
Saw even the smallest bit of success. Therefore, when Angry Birds took only 2 months to become the number...
What the 122 million views. This is a Angry Birds cinematic trailer. Is this real? It is. Well, I mean, I think it is so far from... Oh yeah, here it is. Angry Birds cinematic trailer, 122 million views 15 years ago, dude. And the most viewed came out from 4 years ago. Angry Birds top 10 hatchlings cutest moments. This is just something like YouTube kids type of content over here for the iPad kids. I still though, like multiple videos with over 100 million views. Not bad.
One paid app in 60 countries. They understandably took the chance to milk it. Then make loads of different varieties like Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars, helping it become the #1 paid app in Apple's App Store with 6 to 7 million paid downloads. By the end of Angry Birds first...
But was there any... There was like no microtransactions, so it's just like you pay the $1, you get everything, nothing more, and then maybe like some updates, but no microtransactions. So the minutes generated there, it's $6 to $7 million, I guess, right? Because each one was $1, or about $67 million because it's 99 cents. But not bad.
First year, they'd made $10 million US, but players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks. And we're really trying to build Angry Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only 4 months before that announced 60,000 Angry Birds soft toys have been sold, as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. time. Within Angry Birds itself, they'd implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels, with celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it.
I love the game Angry Birds, it's so sick. Nah, but seeing this post here by Justin Bieber talking about I love the game Angry Birds is so sick, it kind of gave me the vibes of when XXXTentacion, when he made this tweet in 2014 when it said, if you have Flappy Bird on your phone, don't delete it or you can't get it back. Man, dude. RIP X, man. This post here by Justin Bieber just kind of gave me these vibes here of this XXXTentacion tweet. Alright, but let's continue the video.
Angry Birds made 100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224 employees by the end of 2011. 5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads. They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds falling to 59th in the App Store, forcing the franchise to try a new format. They'd release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013,
Mario Kart?
And while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
Really?
So, I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good. It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game, and perfection at its finest.
Perfection?
Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews,
like Swords and
reading,
Sandals.
the latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played.
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was, these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros. As a result, media outlets reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 14% of the company's workforce. They try to fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was pretty unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking out of all the Angry Birds games, which one do you think is the worst, Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore,
yeah, man, I mean, that's just like a complete copy of, well, what is that? Isn't it that game, that one game with the unicorn? Peggle? Yeah, Peggle. Yeah, look, there it is, the unicorn. Yeah. Wait, but is it actually like this game, or it kind of looks like it? Either way, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah, Pop.
To fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was
that game,
pretty
but with
unsuccessful.
Birds
in a Reddit
on
thread
it.
asking out
Birds
of all
IP,
the Angry
Birds
Birds
IP.
games, which one do you think is the worst, Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel.
Wait, but this is Angry Birds 2. How is this? Well, I mean, it's still the same concept and everything, huh?
To basics, and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many called it a downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled to the brim with microtransactions, clearly annoying the fan base who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps sucking money out of you. If you play well..."
Wait, you gotta mention if it was like a free game or if you still had to pay 99 cents.
The game becomes harder and harder until it's impossible, and then you either have to replay each level...
Wait, hold up, that actually sounds kind of nice though. Like if it's like impossible, or it's just like super hard, where it almost feels like it's impossible, because that actually sounds like a kind of intriguing concept to go through. You know, oh well, nowadays, well, this was 2021. Well, nowadays you could just like stream yourself trying to get that impossibleness done, if it's possible, of course.
10 times, or buy gems. The game is just trying to throw you off balance and get under your skin so that you pay more. The official IGN review said the game took significant steps backward for the massively popular series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what...
Wait, but is this game free? Angry Birds 2 is completely free to play, so of course they would kind of add microtransactions, but I guess they were just like spamming it a lot to the point where it was almost like not pay to win, but like pay to get the game done type of thing, according to what we just seen right now. Now this could have been like people that were just hating on the game and just like are super frustrated, and players don't actually need to pay to get the game done. Maybe it really was just a hater, but let's see if they mention this more on this Son of V2.
What made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense monetization, Angry Birds 2 became their highest earning game. Surprisingly, however, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback.
Let me see. Okay, let me not look. Let me see if I could guess what it is. Okay, I didn't see what was after that. I don't know if it faded into something else, but I didn't see it. I only saw fading into black and then I closed my eyes. Okay, what happened here on July? Let me see if I can figure this out. July 2016, something happened. Oh, the movie. I'm gonna guess the movie.
That Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback. Turns out they'd spent the previous 3 years privately developing the Angry Birds movie. At a cost of $73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story, the Angry Birds movie.
Wait, what was the $73 million for? The budget?
Movie. At a cost of $73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story, the Angry Birds movie did surprisingly well.
Ian?
In the cast and a fun little story.
Wait, let's look at the whole cast. I just see Ian from Smosh there.
Risky bet, but with a star-studded.
Okay, let me see if Maya Rudolph sounds familiar. Who's Maya Rudolph? I mean, I've heard of these movies, but I don't think I've really seen any of them. I've seen a bit of Big Mouth, I think only like one season, but no, her name sounds familiar though. Bill Hader, another name sounds familiar.
And a fun little story.
Key from Key and Peele. Of course, I know about him. Seems familiar. I remember David Dobrik was in in an Angry Birds movie. I think it was an Angry Birds 2. Did they make an Angry Birds 2 movie? If so, I remember David was there as David Dobrik was there as an eagle character.
The Angry Birds movie.
Oh yeah, there's Ian Hickok's Bubbles. Alright, so this is Bubbles over here. Orangey, yellowy guy. Let's see if we could find some bubble scene and then see what we hear out of Ian.
I have no upper body.
Is that him? This whole video I've only been seeing him and not really hearing, but I think that was actually him talking right there.
I have no upper body.
Yeah, it does sound like him.
Drop your nuts and move your butts.
What the fuck?
Okay, I want you to curl up into a little ball, all right? Make yourself aerodynamic. Like this? To the left! To the left! Let me at him! Launch!
Yep, that's Ian.
Get it! I told you not to mess with me! Wow, that blows. In a good way. You know.
Alright, some proper nice voice acting there by Mr. Ian Hickok.
Look at that! Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Where is he?
Wait, fun fact, the OG YouTube comedians are actually in this movie. Anthony Padilla playing as Hal, the boomerang bird. And Ian Hickok's playing as Bubbles. Wait, Hal was, oh, Hal is this one. Oh, okay, I thought I was talking about the eagle. Because the eagle was David Dobrik in the following movie. But this was Anthony? Oh yeah, right here. Anthony Padilla, Hal. Voice. Let's look at that. The Angry Birds movie, all Hal scenes. Wait a little bit. I like how in this scene here, you got Anthony and Ian, the characters that they're playing. Hal and Bubbles.
Freeze! Chuck, I need you to tie those crates together. You got it. Done and done. A little help here? Let's go, move it. Push with your upper body.
Okay, so it does kind of sound like Anthony, but Anthony's giving off a little bit of a nasally voice.
Done and done. A little help here? Let's go, move it. Push with your upper body. I have no upper body.
Oh, and there's Ian.
Darn good for a bunch of birds. Or right? Let's see. I'm really Doesn't matter. Launch him. Oh, this guy looks good.
Like a boomerang.
He's gonna make it. Injury right now. Nope. Hey, he's coming back. But duck. Get down. Did we win? Parents, I got an idea.
That's such a funny character design.
I got an idea.
Look at this high profile shot, bro, standing with like a little tummy outside, like a little beer belly, but I guess like a soda belly, His little feather arms over here, his little tiny feet, and of course, the beak.
Look at that! Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, this big bird right here, I don't know, like even in the next movie, I don't know if it's the same exact character, but this is then played by David Dobrik. I don't know if it could be like this character's son. It's like, I think that character was like an eagle with like as like a security officer or something. Here, just so I can stop talking about it and show something about it. Yeah, the Angry Birds 2 movie, so yeah, David Dobrik is Axel. Yes, like this big eagle over here. David Dobrik voiced him in Angry Birds 2. Alright, but now we can go back to the Sunny V2 video.
Movie did surprisingly well. It made over $350 million from its $70 million budget.
Almost 5x'd.
And put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight. People began replaying their previously released games, while Angry Birds theme parks popped up in different countries.
IRL?
Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016. However, the gaming releases that Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to. Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds Action.
Angry Birds Action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most fans agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie. Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking about the worst Angry Birds game, one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds Match, which was described as extremely bland. However, thankfully for Rovio...
Yeah, I mean, it's just like games that pretty much everyone knows, but it just has the IP on it. Like, look, what is this? Like, what? Why would you go out of your way to try to get into these games for the long run?
Which was described as extremely bland. However, thankfully for Rovio, their older titles were still extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie. However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well.
Okay, so they used a smaller budget
this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in
Wait, what's the box office?
Second movie. However, their 65
opening weekend made 10 mil. Gross worldwide. You can't see it because of my social media handles, but gross worldwide, $147 million. I mean, they made their money back essentially. And it could even say double, but I mean, of course, like there's marketing isn't in this budget. But I mean, still though, like they didn't go super negative. If they did go negative, they didn't go super negative. They at least went profitable in terms of budget versus gross worldwide.
$5 million bet didn't pay off so well this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way, whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added a distressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds. Still, the movie made a profit of $82 million, as the company was making some weird changes. Despite their older games being low maintenance, Rovio decided to completely stop updating them. Then, without explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry Birds, were deleted from the App Store. When people began to talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, "Remember when Rovio actually cared?" whilst hashtag #BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter. Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only did it as maintaining the highest quality of updates and live operations isn't possible with our older games, in response to the backlash that announced they planned on redeveloping Angry Birds Classic, which was re-released on the App Store in
$2.
2022, but at a price of $1.99 with no in-game purchases. They'd changed Classic's name to Red's First Flight, making it harder to find in the App Store, thus prompting players to buy the newer, more profitable games. This successfully fooled some people who struggled to find it on the App Store. However, others knew exactly what Angry Birds was doing. They got rid of the old ones so that you would have no other choice than to play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. They despised the games that made the company and so lost its spirit. Rovio basically confirmed this, openly stating they changed the name due to the game's impact on our wider games portfolio. They further requested that fans continue to bring that passion to our live Angry Birds slingshot games, such as Angry Birds 2, however players weren't too happy. We hope those fans can continue to bring that passion to our other games which have been designed to be more psychologically manipulative and stuffed with more microtransactions. Fixed it for you. The drama was so severe, it seemingly halted any future games, as Angry Birds Classic is still the most recent title, released way back in 2022. In 2023, Rovio was sold to Sega, although this has done little to fix.
Wait. Sega owns Rovio? Sega completes purchases of Rovio for $776 million? And they made off with some good money, huh? But can Sega bring it back?
Their reputation. One recent tweet expressed, "I very much still love Angry Birds. That said, the current state of it is dog shit. My hope for the franchise is at an all-time low right now. I'll just continue to enjoy what I love about it, but it's sad to see what it's become. Despite everything, Angry Birds isn't finished, as they just announced they're making a third movie, although with the rest of the franchise in decline, its performance might be interesting."
Yeah, dude, has the trailer come out for it? What's the info on this? The Angry Birds Movie 3 launching into production. So no trailer, but I think this is like a fan made. So no trailer really, but it's just like a confirmation that they are working on a third movie. It's still the same anthropomorphic style design. 1, 2, 3. Flying across to number 3. The Angry Birds Movie 3. Alright, but are people excited over it? The comments are turned off because it is a YouTube Kids video. Alright, but yeah, that was the slow, painful, greedy death of Angry Birds by Sunny V2. Can they come back though? So Sega owns them now, huh? Okay, yeah, Sega owns them fully, outright basically. So I think they can make a comeback, dude. Just gotta appeal to like the I mean I don't know how else to put it, but like the cuteness of the birds, because you know they're cute and everything. Maybe an IRL Angry Birds movie? I mean, Sega's been doing good with the Sonic IRL movies. They could probably do good with an IRL take on the Angry Birds saga. I don't know, man. I'm rooting for Angry Birds though.